So we're gonna have to talk a little bit about the UK today. And, full disclosure, as somebody that doesn't really have a dog in this fight, as somebody that lives in the United States, I don't really usually, typically care about anything that happens in the UK. I just don't. And, that makes sense. I don't live there. It makes sense. It's probably how it should be. When something happens in the UK, it doesn't really come across my radar. And that's probably how it should be, right? I do, however, sometimes notice the UK because they just do some crazy, wacky stuff. And if I had to come up with an example, just I don't know, off the top of my head, maybe it would be like locking up their own citizens for nonviolent social media posts. That is just the first thing that comes to my mind. The first thing that I think of. So when they do stuff like that, I tend to notice the UK. I tend to pay attention a little bit more. And I'm noticing them again because over in the UK, the government has officially cleared a bill that bans anyone born after 2008 from ever legally purchasing tobacco. And I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, what's the deal? What's your beef? This is tobacco. You shouldn't really be doing it. Have you heard? It's dangerous. They even put it on the packaging. It causes cancer. Cancer. It causes cancer. What's the problem? What kind of monster would even have a problem with this? So what? So what? Anybody that's born after 2008 and just, doing the math, that means if you're not already 18, tough luck. Sorry. We're putting a ban. We're putting a ban. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to purchase tobacco. And obviously I recognize that tobacco is dangerous. You probably shouldn't smoke it or chew it or do it, whatever the fuck that, you want to do with it. You probably shouldn't. I'm not endorsing that. However, I do have this belief that no grown person should be able to tell another grown person what to do as long as it's not affecting another person. Meaning, if you want to go to your house, purchase all the tobacco you can, and smoke until you get lung cancer, I mean, why? Why do that? Why do that? I mean, why do people eat fast food for 3 meals of their six out of the day and slowly but surely get fatter and fatter year after year? I don't know. Why would you just kill yourself like that? I don't know. But I think you should be allowed to do that. Who am I? Who am I? And we always look at the government like, oh, the government. It's the government. It's the government. The government. Like it's some big entity. Like it's some big overarching thing that's looking down on us. Like our daddies in the sky that are taking care of everything. It's the government. But it's just people telling other people what to do. So telling that, the 17 and under, all those kids that are already born, hey, by the way, I know that every other generation before you has been able to purchase tobacco, but sorry, you're not. Granted, again, it is tobacco. There's probably not too many people that are up in arms. What's the deal? How could you compare this to them locking up their own citizens for nonviolent social media posts? How is this the same? I don't know. I just look at this as control. Controlling. It's controlling. Imagine that this was a relationship. You got your friend that's in this relationship. And anytime that one of the people in the relationship puts a post out on social media that the other doesn't like, well, they have to stay in the house and they can't go anywhere. They get locked up, so to speak. That'd be a very controlling relationship. If that was your friend that was going through that, you'd say, hey, you need to get out of that. You should be able to say what's on your mind. You know what I mean? It's not like you're inciting violence. If you were inciting violence, I understand. But you're just putting ideas out there. You're just putting out ideas. So if you want to stuff your face like a fat ass every single day and slowly but surely clog all your arteries and die a morbidly obese life. That's up to you. If you want to use tobacco until you get riddled with cancer, or nothing happens and you just use it, whatever happens. You just want to use tobacco until the day you die. Cool. If you want to do any of these things, that's not up to somebody else. If you want to put out ideas out there that somebody doesn't agree with, that's not up to somebody else to say you can't do that. If this was a relationship, you'd say, hey, that's bad. Red flags. Get out of that. Leave him. And I'm just saying him because it's usually that's more like I guess it goes both ways. But when it comes to severely controlling like that, I don't know. Maybe that's just how I think about it. Like some piece of shit guy that's trying to tell his lady what she can and can't do. Don't post that. Think you could post that? You think you just put that? You think you can embarrass me like that? Again, if this was a relationship like that, it would be clear. Who are you? Who are you to say that? She didn't do anything illegal. She didn't do anything wrong. Who are you to say what she can and can't post? If somebody wants to do all of these things, cool. If they want to, like I said, be a fat ass. If they want to smoke tobacco forever, if they want to put out ideas, and let's say they are really bad, they're hateful. They don't incite violence, but they're bad. Most people would say, hey, you crossed the line. It's fucked up. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't say that. Most people would say that. And for those people, they should be allowed to do it. That's what free speech is. You should be allowed to put out things that people say, I hate you. I want you to be a pariah. And they should be allowed to be ostracized from whatever group, and they should be allowed to stand next to the things that they say and say, you know what? I don't care. They all hate me. They all hate me. Look at my entire comment section. It's full of hatred. I'm getting a whole bunch of unfollows and unfriends and all of this shit. People are messaging saying that I'm a piece of shit and all of these things. They should be allowed to make those decisions. Again, if this was a relationship, you would see it clear as day. For some reason, they're just rolling over in the UK. That's why I look at things like this tobacco ban, or them locking up their own people for social media posts, as wild, crazy. And you might think, hey, you said it yourself. You live in the United States. What is it to you? And honestly, I feel like this is an infection. I feel like this shit might bleed over. I think it might come across the pond, as they say in the UK. I think it might come over here. Somebody might say, hey, that's a good idea. How about we do a little bit of that? You got more power? What, you got power and control over your people and they're just going with it? Huh. They're using it. They're actually weaponizing these things. They're calling the police on their own neighbors for basically harmless posts. We got these motherfuckers in the back. So this, I don't know. This might not be that big of a deal to a lot of people because it is tobacco. I think it also might be them slowly rolling out more controlling legislation or whatever, more controlling bills, We can start with something that a lot of people will say, hey, I can see the bad in this. We've been seeing no smoking or like anti-cigarette commercials or whatever since I've been alive. I don't know when they actually started that shit. I know they used to just be cool with you smoking cigarettes in diners and shit like that. You could just like hold your baby and smoke a cigarette with the other hand while you're on an airplane full of a whole bunch of people. It didn't matter. You go to the doctor, they say, hey, what are you, Nancy? Take a cigarette. That's what you had to do. They literally, and this is a real thing, doctors would literally prescribe cigarettes for people with asthma because they thought you had weak lungs. This is going to help strengthen your lungs. You're going to get them strong lungs, okay? You just got them little pussy lungs right now. Get some hair on your chest. Get some whiskey. Smoke a little pack of those. You'll be all right. It's a real thing. But that was a long time ago. For a long time, people have woken up to the fact that tobacco is bad. That it causes cancer. I don't know why I'm putting these asterisks or quotation marks around it. It obviously does. They put it on the packaging. So when they put out a ban like this, maybe a lot of people, for the most part, are gonna be like, "Hey, it's okay." Even people that smoke cigarettes or whatever. You know what's like you hear from people that smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes. I quit that shit. I'm almost 2 years from quitting that shit. And one thing you hear is, "I wish I never would have started. It's the worst habit ever." All of these cliche things. So even people that use tobacco, they may be like, "Hey, you know what? This might be a good thing. Let's not give the kids an option. Let's not give them a chance. Let's not let them make that choice. This isn't a standard age restriction. It's a permanent status. The goal is to create a tobacco-free generation to save the national healthcare system's billions in the long run." You know, it sounds good. It always sounds good, don't it? You know, the Patriot Act sounds good until you realize they're just spying on you through the phones. Like, they were just okay with it. I guess that's a law now. They could just listen to us on the phone. But it's the Patriot Act. Well, yeah, I'm a patriot. I love America. The United States of America. I'm a patriot. I'll even break out into song. I will sing the national anthem. Do I need to? I'm a patriot. So you can't really go against the Patriot Act. It sounds so good. They always make it sound good. We're gonna save the healthcare system billions in the long run. Billions. Okay. Why don't you do some other things then? I feel like there are some other ways you could save the money. And maybe their government's different than ours. I will give that to them. I don't know if they are as reckless as our government. Because we in debt. You know, we don't know how. We don't know how to use the money that we have in a normal way, in a way that doesn't put us in a deficit. We don't know how to not overspend. We don't. So maybe they're not like us. But to put this as, we just want a tobacco-free generation. And we're going to save billions in the long run, just in case that's not enough. Of course you're going to put it like this. This is some altruistic mission, and there's no way that this is for more control. Bullshit. Bullshit. Maybe I'm wrong. Allegedly. There. Does that make this better? I don't know. Does that make this better? Full disclaimer. I don't know. But goddamn. It's like I said, you start with, "Oh, they're actually letting us lock them up for these posts. They're actually letting us do that." And by letting us, I mean they're not protesting and like throwing a whole revolution or whatever. I don't know how this would go down. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem. This isn't hundreds of years ago where everybody's so fucking radical and it's like, let's just sail off to the new world. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we're just like, all of us are just looking around like, what do you do in this situation? They're just locking us up now for this. What do we do? We can't go to the police. The police are the ones here. The police are the ones here. And again, they're turning fast. Just as quick as you thought you had a friend, you realized that was never your friend. That was just a neighbor that didn't like something that you put on Facebook. And hey, knock, knock, knock. Susan down the street said you hurt her feelings. Goodbye. You're getting locked up. You're going to jail. You're getting locked up. So maybe this is just another step. They're letting us do that. Step 1, they're actually starting to weaponize it. Step 2, let's go ahead and take away something. Let's go ahead and strip, not like something where we move the goalposts. It's like, well, now you got to be 50 to use tobacco. Fuck that. Let's just tell them we're done with it. It's going to be a tobacco-free generation. Even the ones that are alive now. If you're not already an adult, I don't care. Fuck off. You are going to be a part of the tobacco-free generation. What this tells me is We want. And by we, I mean the government. And again, the government is just people. These are people saying what they want. Hey, guess what? This is what we want. Why would you be smart enough to make your own choices? Yes, you're smart enough to vote us into office, and where we make these bills to say you are not smart enough to make decisions about your own life. I'm sorry. That's how the world works. If you have a problem with it, honestly, you can just go fuck yourself. Yeah, it's gotten to that point. Straight up. Just blatantly. Like that. Why why sugarcoat this? Why sugarcoat it? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? We already discovered. You don't know. You don't know. So you better be careful. You better be careful because I might have another bill coming that you don't like. Get out of my office. What are you gonna do? I think this is just another step. We take away something that some people might want. We're gonna make it an entire ban, and let's see what happens. Oh, nothing happens. Let's take away something else. Let's take away something else. Who knows what the next step is going to be? All I can think of is they take away another thing. They tell you how to live in another way. You don't get the chance to make your own mistakes. You don't get to say, "Hey, I want to," and me as a fresh new adult that has the option to purchase and use tobacco if I so choose. You know what? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to take my health serious. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to make sure I have a strict workout routine. I'm going to eat right. I'm not going to eat shitty food. I've seen what that does to people. I've seen what that does to my own family. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to be different. I'm going to take my health serious. So I'm not going to go out to bars and poison myself with alcohol. I'm good. I'm not going to do things like tobacco. You don't get to make that choice anymore. You don't get to make that choice. You don't get to say, I decided to be healthy. And maybe this is like one of those things like, bro, what are you even complaining about? Either way, tobacco-free generation. What kind of monster has any problem with this? I'm telling you. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But because this all started with they lock people up for non-violent social media posts. I know, like, we just kind of like glaze our eyes over that. I know it's like one of those things like, yeah, so that's fucking wild. That's wild. And I'm really worried about that shit bleeding over. I'm really worried about people saying, you know what? That makes sense. That's what we were going to get. As bad as this motherfucker Donald Trump is, that's what we were going to get with the Democrats, with Kamala Harris. That's what it was already going to, that type of censorship. And I never looked at myself as being political at all. That's just boring as fuck. But it's like that shit's starting to bleed over. Maybe this is just me aging, but I swear to God, it didn't impact so many things in our day-to-day life as much. You know, like you didn't hear about things like that. I feel like maybe again I was just a kid. Of course, you never heard about stuff like that. I don't even know when the fucking Patriot Act happened. That's crazy as fuck to me. But it's not like I was a kid sitting there like, yo, the Patriot Act. Like I didn't fucking know. So it's like these things actually affect us. And I guess I do ignore a lot of political shit. Admittedly. Maybe that's the wrong thing to, you know what I mean, to do. But whatever. It just is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and like force myself to pay attention to some shit I don't want to pay attention to. But sometimes it comes across my radar anyways because it's some shit where it's like censorship. And I guess I've realized that is kind of triggering to me. I don't want to be censored. I really don't like the fact that that's how the world is fucking set up. It's like boo hoo. Poor you. That's how the world is. I get it. I get it. But doesn't it suck sometimes? Where it's just like it really is just like a bunch of people telling us how we're allowed to live. You know, I think, yes, obviously, anybody that's hurting other people or affecting other people in any way, like that's, you know what I mean? There are places, I'm not like a no government type of person, but Jesus, Lord, when did we start looking at the government like our daddies in the sky? Like our little mommy, and we're just sucking on the fucking teat, trying to get some fucking milk. And I hope that kind of grossed you out a little bit. Like imaging that. That it should. It's gross. It's gross. It's gross. Again, if this was a relationship between two people, it would be clear as day. You got a tobacco ban. You're not allowed. You're just not allowed. You're not allowed to make that choice. And I get it. Somebody could be like, hey, I really wish you didn't smoke. But at the end of the day, if you got one person trying to force another person to live the way they want to, good luck. Good luck making that work. Good luck if that person actually goes to their friends and starts talking about like, hey, yeah, they I don't know. Like I'm trying to make this analogy work. But they do some crazy controlling shit if you actually use tobacco. If you actually post something you don't like. And if this was a relationship between two people, it'd be clear as day. But we don't see this as a relationship between a bunch of people. We see this as, again, we're the people in the regular world, and you got the mommies and the daddies in the sky that tell us what to do and tell us how to live. And so many people that just go along with that shit. And yeah, I hope you pictured a nasty, gross, veiny, saggy tit, and everybody just pushing each other, trying to get some fucking government breast milk. I hope you picture that because it's gross. It's gross. We're just accepting it. And by we, obviously, I don't live in the UK. Thank God. Shit. Again, what do you do? I'm not trying to blame them too much. It's easy to say on the sidelines. I don't see myself, in that situation, drawing fucking signs up and going out. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What does that even do? You protest? It always seems pointless. Oh, yep, you got protesters. Okay, what changes? We don't like this. What changes? So what do you do? It's easy to say on the sidelines. I will admit that. But Jesus, it's like they're just going with it. What more can you control? They're also moving to gut the vaping industry with the idea that because the state pays for your medical bills, they now have a lien on your personal habits. It's a bizarre form of performance arts. We're watching a Western democracy decide that personal liberty is a luxury that's only available to people born in a specific window of history. And, you know, if this does stop at them just banning tobacco, and this really was some altruistic mission to have a tobacco-free generation, and slowly but surely it's gonna die out. Awesome. I mean, I don't know how accurate I've heard. I don't know how accurate the polls are that have been referenced, but I've heard that the tobacco use is already going down as each generation goes. Same thing with alcohol. Maybe that's not true. I don't know where they get these polls from. I've never answered a poll. I don't know anybody that's answered a poll. Have you heard of anybody that's ever answered a poll? So I don't know if they're just making this shit up. They might be. But I heard that the sales were down anyways. And doing something like this, one of my fears, just being pessimistic, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But just weighing out both sides. What if, because you ban it, because you make it something illegal, what if you, I don't know, make it a way where kids can rebel? I don't know. Maybe it'll be too hard to get to. Maybe it'll be too tough. And it won't really be, but I don't know. I'm guessing I'm just thinking about illegal drugs. You know, think about how many teenagers still drink alcohol, even if it's illegal. It's one of those things. Well, it's illegal. Oh, well, I'm gonna find a way. Oh, I know somebody, and you're the cool kid at the party that found a way to bring a fucking 30 pack or some shit. I don't know. You got a bottle? Damn. You the nigga that brought a bottle? You know what I mean? You in middle school or some shit like that? You got a fucking bottle? That's some grown man shit. Brought a fucking bottle? Hell yeah. With like cracking voices and shit going through puberty? You know what I mean? Like that was the fucking shit. Maybe you make this cool or whatever. You know, the type of cool that's not really cool, but when you're growing up and you're just like a fucking preteen or a young teenager, you think this shit is cool. You're still trying to figure out what cool is, who you are, shit like that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. What if you put that in circulation again? Instead of being that thing where everybody right now already kind of knows it's kind of just yucky. Ugh. In fact, that is what I told my kids they were before I quit them. What are you doing? I'm going to go outside and do a yucky. That's literally what they called them. And people would be like, oh, wow. Like when they would hear them, be like, oh, you doing a yucky? It's like, what are they talking about? Be like, oh, I'm going to go outside and smoke. It's like, oh, it's probably good that you say this. It's like, yeah, it's fucking gross. It's fucking gross. And that's just my experience. You know, do what you want. Who am I to judge? Isn't that the whole point of what I'm saying? I don't know, man. The way that things are going over there in the UK, just the way that the government seems like it's just squeezing down on them more and more. It's frightening. And because yeah, you hear about controlling governments like that when it comes to I don't know, like a dictatorship. You know, you think about like I don't know, like some of the I'm about to sound uneducated as fuck. But one of some of the fucking I don't know which ones, but some of the countries in the Middle East somewhere, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's like the Iran, one of the stands or something like that. But where they get upset if the ladies wear something where they're showing too much skin, or if you're gay, or like if you eat the wrong thing or some shit like that, where the government is actually a part of that. Like we get to dictate how you live, and not in a way where it's like don't kill people, don't rob from people. Again, where you're taking or hurting other people. Obviously, that should be governed, and we should have some sort of like a police force against that. But you know what I'm talking about. The shit where it's just like people telling people what to do. Don't eat pork or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't know. Was that a racism? I don't know. I don't know. Okay? I don't know. I know they got some funky rules. They got some funky rules, and I don't mean funky. I'm just gonna, you know what I'm talking about. You got different parts of the world that they move different. You go to North Korea and you got a dictatorship. I don't even know what the fuck they got going on there. Go to China and some shit like that. I know like it's so deep where it's like you could be a billionaire. I think there was like a billionaire or some shit like that there. One of the richest people in China like spoke out against their government and they like snatched him up and like re-educated him and he came back out. It's like everything is fine. It's all good. I don't mean any of the things I said. It's like, bro, I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't know what happens in these countries. So when I think of controlling things, like telling you how to live, I guess I think of places like that. I don't think of like you know what I mean. They call the UK compared to the United States. They call that I think like our sister country or some shit like that. You look at some of these other countries and you're like, hey, you guys might talk a little different. That was a horrible accent, but it might be a little bit different as far as how you talk. Some of the things that you know what I mean, your culture and shit, whatever. But for the most part, like you believe in fairness, you believe in like let's vote on it type of mentality. I don't know. It's scary when you see that changing. It's scary when you see that shit again getting a little bit more controlling. It's like please keep it to yourself. It feels like the fucking flu. It feels like that shit might spread over, and it's like I cannot get sick right now. I can't. Just you're gonna have to stay over there.